And when you talk about propaganda, you got to understand that a lot of this here often happens all over the world. There's a lot of people, my God, that if we go back through the histories of time, you will find that they operated in propaganda. They operated in propaganda, which was a form of what we call psychological warfare. Yeah, what is psychological warfare? In other words, before an enemy decided, watch this here, that he was going to destroy you or come up and fight you, he already sent information or word out to you that I'm going to take care of you. Y'all ain't saying that. When I was growing up in school, my God, we used to have people in school that were bullies. We used to have people in school, my God, that always like to pick on other people. And one thing about the bully, hello somebody, he'll tell you in advance he was going to whoop your behind by the end of the day. And so here it is, you sitting there the whole time in the classroom worrying about what Joe was going to do, when Joe was going to catch you, what angle he was going to get you at, and what you was going to do in response. So your whole mind was worried about what Joe was saying. But can I tell you something? Joe didn't always get the victory. Can I tell you about something? I went through an experience in my life, and I'm telling you about my bully named Joe. Joe thought he was going to get me, and Joe had beat up everybody else. But something came to my mind that if Joe come to me, I'm going to do something about it. And I really was scared of Joe. I didn't know what to do with Joe, but something told me to get me a big old rock and put it in the ball of my hand. And I didn't know if I was going to throw it. I didn't know if I was going to hit him with it. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. But can I tell you something? When Joe walked up to me and told me what he was going to do to me, all I did was haul back with that rock in my hand and bust Joe in the eye. Now you don't understand what I'm saying. That rock made my hand a little harder. I didn't even feel the rock. I was so nervous I did it out of response. But one thing I didn't give in to the threats of Joe. But look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, God wants you to deal with Joe. Yeah, he wants you to deal with Joe. See, Joe's the kind of person, my God, that always is saying stuff, that's always making threats about things, about what he's going to do against you and against your life. But can I tell you, the enemy is just like Joe. I told you earlier, he's always walking about as a roaring lion, rawr, saying little things, trying to intimidate you. Rawr. Seeing if you're going to back up, if you're going to take off and run in another direction. But there's something Joe didn't realize, is that I got some more information that's touching my heart. I got more information that's blessing me over what he said. Look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, we do have the report of the Lord. Now, so why? Have you seen someone preach in a minute? You got to understand that what Nahash was trying to do to the people of Israel, he was just sending a word, watch this, talking about how he was going to destroy them if they don't submit to him. And through that word, my God, many of them immediately just begin to throw in the towel. They immediately saying, listen, we don't want to get involved in no fight with this guy because we going to lose. This is what they were saying in their minds. But here it is, what you got to understand about this kind of what we call psychological warfare is that the enemy really don't want to fight. Y'all don't understand. I say the enemy really don't want to get in no battle. So he try to bully you down. He try to talk you down. He try to pretend as though you better not come up here against me because I'm going to take care of you. But in the heart of the enemy, there's also a level of fear. This was the way, my God, that Nahash went around and intimidate all of his enemies. He would often go up to the city and say, we're going to burn that city down. We're going to rape all your children. We're going to do everything we said we were going to do. And I'm not saying that he didn't do that to certain people. All the other villages had already had experience what Nahash was doing. So when they heard that word, it intimidated their hearts. It made them fearful in saying that what happened to the other people is going to happen to us. So they immediately gave up. They immediately threw in the towel. They immediately began to weep and cry, saying that our fate is already sealed. The things that's going to happen to us, we don't have no ability to turn this thing around. But can I tell you something? The problem with most of us, we always listen to what the enemy is saying. We always listen to what the devil is saying. And we never take time out to hear what God says. Can I tell you something? That God has something to say on every situation. God has something to speak about your circumstance. And you got to understand, if you always listen to what the enemy said, you will never have no fight. You will never have no victory. You will never even try to attempt to overcome your circumstance. But look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, whose report are you going to believe? And so Nahash says, listen, watch it, have a seat. I'm going to preach in a minute. Nahash said, listen. If you come out to us, we're not going to just allow you to serve us, but we're going to put out your right eye. Now, I don't have time to deal with all the implications of that situation. One of the things was, watch this, if he put out their eyes, what they was going to do was incapacitate them, that they'll always be servants. In other words, if you ever thought about rising up against us, if you ever thought about it, my God, maybe 5 years from now, that you got tired of serving us, you'll be crippled in life. And so what he was trying to do for them, he was trying to defeat them in the psychology of their mindset. He was trying to defeat them by destroying how they thought about themselves. And you got to understand, my God, that the enemy is constantly coming at you with situations. He's coming at you through circumstances and telling you what happened to somebody else, it's going to happen to you. You understand that when you get a report from the doctor that says we see cancerous cells that are moving in your body, you got to understand the first thing you do is you think about what happened to somebody else. You go to thinking how somebody else got breast cancer, and you get intimidated, and you get all down in your spirit, and you feel as though there was no hope for you in God. But can I tell you, you spend too much time listening to what the enemy says and not enough time listening to what God says. God says you got to believe what I'm telling you. You got to believe what I'm putting out to you. There's a whole lot of people. We're hearing the scriptures. We're hearing what God is saying. But we go, my God, back to our houses and feel as though what God said will never come to pass. But can I tell you something? You got to learn how to believe in what God is saying. Look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, whose report are you going to believe? And so here it is. He felt as though, listen, I can get the victory over their life. And I ain't got to do nothing. I ain't got to pick up no sticks. I ain't got to shoot now arrow. I got these people right where I want them at. They already intimidated. They already feel inferior. And so all I got to do is send out a threat. And just like he thought, the people took in on that threat. But there was somebody that had another word. There was somebody that had a word from the Lord. And King Saul came up in the midst of them and say, what's going on around here? Why is everybody feeling this though? This is the end of times. Can I tell you something? He said, I want you to know something. God's got a word also. There's a whole lot of you. You spend too much time listening what the devil says instead of listening what God is saying. God got a lot of things to say about you as a child of God. There's a whole lot of people that may not believe that you're going to have the ability to make it on tomorrow. But the Bible declares that if my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves in prayer, then I'll hear from heaven and I'll turn their situation. If they hear, I'll bless you. Look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, God's got something to say on that situation. In other words, they have said, I ain't got to fight nothing. I can get these people to surrender easily. He was dealing with propaganda. Can I tell you, propaganda has been working a long time. There was a fellow by the name of Genghis Khan. This fellow by the name of Genghis Khan, he was able to defeat his enemies through psychological warfare. He would always take the people, when he had the arrows, he would carve the arrows that when they flew into the enemy's camp, they'd make a whistling sound. And the people immediately, when they hear the whistles, knew that the spears were on their way coming in. And they'd be intimidated. And they go to running and hiding because they didn't want to get shot by the arrow. But he had all some more other stuff that he often did. And what he would do, he would take the skulls of other people that he had already conquered. Genghis Khan would go up to the camp, on the outside of the camp, and he'll build a monument of 90,000 heads that he had already defeated and say, listen here, you might as well surrender because we're going to come in there and do to you what we did to them. And most people lay down their spears. Most people lay down the arrows. They lay down their swords and they immediately surrendered unto Genghis Khan. But I got news for you. Everybody ain't got to surrender. Everybody ain't got to give up. Everybody ain't got to throw in the towel. I know it seems like you up against some odds that are insurmountable. You up against some things that don't look like it's going to ever turn around. But look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, you got to get another word. You got to get another word. And another word is, greater is he that's on the inside. Look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, there is another word. The other word is, if God be for you, then he's more than the whole world against you. See, most of us, we've been spending time listening to everybody else. We've been spending time hearing how bad things are for everybody else. But can I tell you something? When you are a child of God, what happened to others ain't gonna happen to you. I know it don't sound right. I know it don't look different. But can I tell you that God says, I got promises that are over your life. I got promises that are waiting on you. You listen to what the devil said, but have you ever considered what I said? God says, I got something that can defeat the enemy. Because I know that no weapon that's formed against you will be able to prosper. Somebody asked the preacher, how do you know it won't be able? He said, because I formed the smith. I formed the weapon. In other words, I made everything. The stuff that come at you, the stuff that'll go by you, I made everything. So God says, you ain't got to worry about nothing, because everything is in the palm of my hand. Look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, God got a report. God's got a report. God's got a report. And so what he did, when the report got over to Saul, Saul says, I hear what you're saying, but I want you to do me one favor. I want you to write this report. I want you to write this down. And he said, tell everybody that the report is, by tomorrow, the enemy be done. By tomorrow, devil is out of your way. By tomorrow, things gonna turn around. And when they got the report, I like what they did. They ran into the people, and when they ran to the people said, what is this, man? He said, what is this, man? They say, listen, Saul said, I've already heard how God gonna bless us. I already heard how God gonna make a way for us. And so the people looked at the message and went to the enemy and told the enemy, all right, we gonna serve you. We gonna submit to you. But when they said it, they knew in their heart that they wasn't gonna do it, because the scriptures declare that they got happy when they read the report. I want to tell some of you, a lot of you believe in the enemy. But can I tell you something? You need to go to the enemy and ask the enemy what he believes. I'm going to preach in a minute. The enemy knows that greater is he that's on the inside of you than he that's in the world. But, oh my God, the enemy knows that no weapon that's formed against thee will be able to prosper. What are you saying, preacher? I'm trying to tell you that the devil put sickness on you, but he already knows by my stripes you are healed. He already knows that everything that he tries to tell you that God's got a remedy for. In other words, you listen to the enemy. You are afraid of the devil when the devil is really afraid of you. Y'all ain't saying that. As a child of God, he knows whatsoever you bind will be bound in heaven. He knows whatsoever you loose will be loosed in heaven. He knows that you got power and authority over every work of the enemy. So he really is afraid of you. He really is intimidated. He really don't want to get into a skirmish. He really don't want to get into a fight. Why you say that, preacher? Because the part of propaganda and spiritual warfare and psychological warfare is that the enemy really wants a victory without a fight. I wish I could preach him. He really don't want to see you drop to your knees. Oh my God. The enemy said, that ain't what I wanted. I didn't want to see them do that. In other words, I wanted them just to throw in the towel. I wanted them just to give up without a fight. But God says the enemy is intimidated. The enemy is afraid of you. If you only fight, if you only pray, if you only seek my face. The enemy, he's afraid. So what he's hoping is that you will go for the intimidation. He's hoping you will go for the little boy that's trying to take your milk. Tell me, give me my milk. He's hoping You don't stand up and say, give me my meal back. He's hoping, because the power of intimidation is working, because people don't fight, because they do nothing about their situation. The enemy is really not wanting to fight. Look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, the devil don't want to fight. The devil don't want to fight. The devil don't want to fight. That's why he's saying what he's saying. That's why he's speaking what he's speaking. That's why he's trying to do everything without a fight. But you got to understand that when you make up your mind, you got to understand that God has things he's already promised you. He's got things he's already gonna do in that situation. Look at a neighbor and say, neighbor, I dare you to fight.